All right, we will see tonight if we can't engage some of the heart muscles. Okay, some of the heart muscles. I like to take this opportunity. I do this about twice a year where I come out with a special off schedule live stream. I don't expect that there's going to be a ton of traffic in here, so we can all sit back and enjoy each other's company and ring in the new Thanksgiving holiday the way that it's supposed to be rung in. A lot to be thankful for this year and a lot to reflect upon this year. Absolutely. And I just want to take this opportunity to say I'm thankful for you guys. Thank you so much for sticking with me and embarking on this journey for wealth building and personal empowerment. I often come out with these special videos oft-timed because it's always fulfilling to me to be provided a platform to give my unique perspective. And I do foot stomp unique. I really do. I do shy away from groupthink a lot. I despise it most of the time. And YouTube is fraught with groupthink. It is. And I've been doing YouTube now for about 3.5 years. It was always the very simple goal of providing insight to how I seek exposure to the stock market with the hopes that people would sit across and say, hey, I can do that as well. That little spark of empowerment sometimes takes a little nudge. It sometimes takes somebody like myself and many others as well that don't mind sharing their story. I think there's a lot of people that reach a certain level of financial success, which is just a small aspect of success, in my humble opinion, in life. And they disconnect, and it's always like I've earned all this. There was no luck involved at all in my journey. And I think if we stop every now and then and reflect on how we engage in a successful mindset, I think it's important to reflect on what it is you're personally capable of in your life. Okay. Identifying those helpful injects in your life and leveraging those healthy injects in your life to promote to a greater good for yourself. Okay. Now, the flip side of that coin is when you have influences that are out there on the landscape, and we are living in an era going into 2021, this era of information overload and the availability of information that's out there to investors is going to be ever apparent. It absolutely is. So it's super, super important for you to be aggressive and be offensive, but also be defensive in nature as well. And I think it's been interesting for me the last few years doing YouTube to observe how the landscape has changed. I probably could have counted under 25 channels when I first started. And I'm a very, very unknown channel. I relish in that. I really do. There's no way in heck that any of the larger channels are going to want to embolden me. There's no way. Because I feel like on one side of the explanation of the stock market, I'm always first to say, look, man, nobody has this thing figured out. Nobody. Okay. Keep that in mind. This live stream is going to be aimed at seeking the truth for people, and the truth is relative. It's how you internalize information. But I'm going to give you my best shot at trying to clear a landscape that seemingly is fraught with information without any barriers anymore. And it can be very, very dangerous for new investors seeking out information and unfortunately plopping onto YouTube, perhaps maybe as their first or second or third drop point for information. And this is what they're provided. They're provided with information that promises or guarantees overnight success in the stock market, or language that revolves around YouTube creators specifically and in the broader social media context, uh, media or content creators that have the answers for you. And therefore, if you do, in fact, engage in that strategy, I just heard of one from a guy that I helped yesterday. He said that, I've got this course that I'm looking at. It's going to cost me $800. Is it a good idea, Ryan? And I quickly responded. I said, it's all garbage. And that's not necessarily true. I don't speak that way in context to the content itself. I offer that response to the result that's often rendered. Okay. And for you guys that don't know, with regard to formalized courses, the majority of people, no matter what they pay, whether it be $500 or $5,000, never, in fact, ever take the course in the first place. They never negotiate through the course. How do we know this? It's because course creators have access to the back end data and analytics on courses. And so it's never really about the $800 or $5,000. It really comes down to a personal choice of answering a very, very simple question. Do I want this for me? Okay. And I think a lot of people feel more obligated if they do, in fact, pay for something like that, or they buy into the guarantee of success, whether it be next year or 2022 and beyond, or, hey, we've got six figures in your future. I'm here to tell you, as we do strike toward the truth in the social media landscape, that none of that is true. There is absolutely no guarantee in stock market investing, and there is no real guarantee in life from a broader perspective. Okay. This is going to be a 2-hour live stream tonight, guys. There's a lot that I want to talk about, but I absolutely wanted to come on. It fulfills my desire to provide my angle and perspective, because perhaps I'm wrong. I always reserve the right for people to say, you know what, Ryan, you're off base on this. But I attempted to consume some content the other night on a live stream. And I tell you what, it was a whole different atmosphere than what we create every single Friday night, in that it's engaging. People feel like they have some ownership over the program. It was very, very one-sided. And I can appreciate that. What I didn't appreciate is the fact that every single thing that was said, I disagreed with. Everything. And I'm going to actually provide some of those comments that were made during the live stream that night. I was reviewing through some of the thread, as a lot of you guys are taking the opportunity to leave some of your comments and some of your perspectives in the thread tonight. And what amazed me is some of the comments, most all of them, none of them disagreed with what was being said, except for me. And I actually exited the live stream in that I thought, you know what, this is a complete and utter waste of my time. And it really spoke to the broader assessment on YouTube, in that, am I the cynic? Am I the bad guy? Am I the bad guy that just comes on and wants to see the misapplication in the message? Because here's the thing: either the content creator was a licensed financial planner and had 25 plus years of experience in the market and knew better than what to say, or the contrary, perhaps maybe the content creator had very little experience in the market and knew better and didn't know better on what they were saying. One of those two were the scenario. But here's the thing: I honestly feel like just recently, over the last couple months, YouTube has been a landscape for content creators basically to say whatever it is that they want to gain subscribers. That is the ultimate goal. Is to feed the algorithm whatever it is they want. So basically, you have to say whatever it is necessary to get the algorithm to grab your particular channel. And a lot of people, I hope somebody comes in and they want to challenge me and say, well, Ryan, you're mad because your channel's not growing. It's not the truth at all. I've always said through the history of this channel, I could care less whether or not I've got 100 subscribers or I've got 100,000 subscribers. It makes no difference to me. And here's why. I always want to retain creative control over my content. If I want to drop a live stream on a Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, to push out a message that's been building up in my head on my assessment on what I view on YouTube, and I know full on that I will not be compensated for my time, then I want to be provided that conduit, okay? Where a lot of larger channels would say, that's channel suicide. You can't do that. You're going to ruin your channel by doing that, Ryan. That's the very aspect and the very angle by which I approach YouTube. And the beneficiaries are you guys, because you won't hear any type of tailoring. You won't hear any type of bantering to the algorithm. I come on and I speak my mind the way I think it should be spoken on my assessment in the stock market, and especially how I feel like content creators are influencing the masses in significant numbers, I might add. And I'm a little bit tougher in my evaluation on content creators. I don't give them all a pass. As a matter of fact, I'm very scrutinizing, and I expect them to do the same for me. Absolutely. If they feel like there's something that's awry on the independent investor channel, they can come on and they can let me know. It's interesting. It's very interesting to me how the mentality on YouTube is always to feel good and not challenge what it is that's being passed to the masses. And here's the thing: if the masses were benefiting from a majority perspective, in other words, if the masses were coming on to YouTube and they were tripping and falling into portfolios that were extremely speculative because the YouTube promised 10x, 30x, 100x, right? Then I wouldn't have a problem with it, right? We all know that that's not the truth. It's not the truth. The truth of the matter is that there are different levels of investing, and those different levels of investing require either a little bit of experience. And as you step up into those levels of investing, whether it be single stock picking, evaluating balance sheet, cash flow statements, etc., really evaluating trading ranges, technicals or fundamentals, whatever it is you choose, then it does require a different level of expertise to succeed at. And then there's yet another level on top of that. When we talk about speculation investing, we're talking about penny stock investing, we're talking about some of the SPAC plays that are out there right now. And I do want to challenge the status quo and make sure that if I'm missing the boat and there's a ton of people that are making 100%, 200, 300, 500% returns. And here's the thing: those are the only people that you're going to hear from on YouTube. Okay. Just sit back for a second and think about those investors out there who perhaps ill-timed Hyliion, for example, bought it at 50, right? Gave a ton of money into the stock vacuum. And I don't know if they're going to get that back or not. I don't know. Just think about how those investors feel. Do you think they're going to come on to YouTube and share their success story, even though the YouTubers that came on were promising 2x, 3x, 10x, 15x, whatever it is, right? No, you're not. You're going to hear from the few people who came on and said, man, this is the greatest thing ever. This investing gig is easy. Okay. You're the greatest thing ever. Okay. Let's get to the next one. This is awesome. I don't have to get a day job. Okay. And I'm disappointed all too often with the willingness to groupthink and not disagree with anything that is said, not challenge anything that is said. And I just want to thank everybody in this community. I think I pulsed in with my Viper group and I gave a premise to this live stream. I was actually going to release this as a video, but I thought there was no way in hell that I could get my point across in a 10-minute offering. There's no way. And you know, very, very few people are capable of coming on and doing a 2-hour live stream on this particular topic and some others. If you are a channel creator in the group, I'm going to talk about some of the things that I feel like really set the independent investor channel apart specifically, and in more broad terms, how it is that new channel creators can actually engage in the YouTube opportunity and get a lot of the satisfaction out of this deal by nature of aligning what it is you want out of this deal and making sure that you're being honest with yourself with regard to your own capabilities and giving yourself that opportunity to try YouTube. And if it's not for you, then maybe, you can do something else, or not put so much pressure on yourself to all the time feed the algorithms, right? So with that, guys, I do appreciate y'all's time. There's quite a few people in here, man, on short notice, and I really appreciate that. We're going to get to the masses here, and we're going to engage. We're going to do the Q&A session, and I'm going to stick with you guys as long as you guys want to stay on here on a Wednesday night live stream special on the Independent Investor channel. So it's that first layer that I talk about in investing. That's the passive investing. And I've often said that if you came out with a channel and you just preached about passive investing the entire time, I don't know how much relative success you would have on YouTube, because I presume that a lot of the folks in my Viper group have been recommended to the channel. A lot of people in the community that frequent the live stream, and they enjoy sitting across from myself at least once a week and catching a financial peace message, understand that they do so because of my perspective on the market. And not only that, my experience helps me speak about the market from a perspective that's been there, done that. I've experienced a lot in the market, ups and downs. And I do typically try to resonate with the idea that there is no small pocket or window of time in the stock market that's going to give you all of the answers with regard to defining your strategy in the market. What I mean by that is, in 2019, last year, how much SPAC and craze was mentioned? Not a whole lot, right? Now, I am invested in a couple of SPACs, and I've done quite well. I find that the success is very, very defined by my very, very aggressive strategy and my keeping a tight leash on these. I share all this with my Viper group as well. And I've made a fortune, okay? Does that mean that I need to come on to YouTube and talk about 10x and 100x and 10,000x? No, I don't. I really don't, because I'm empowering my own program. And that's what I've always said for anybody in this group, is to look at these angles and different layers of investing in your program. And you can look at that passive layer and say, boom, check, Ryan's got it there. I get it. I understand why I do that passive aspect. And I do presume that 8 out of 10 investors need to look at it. I could bump that up and say, look, I would say 100% of investors that are looking to get involved in the stock market should really look to pursue a passive base in the portfolio. And a lot of people, the 401k, 403, 457, whatever it may be, can supplement for that passive base. Great. If you've got that base in place and it's working for you and you're working toward that compounding interest, that 8 to 10% rate of return, not to be scoffed at and not to be disregarded, then you're good. And you can look to pursue maybe another layer in your program. And that's typically where the individual retirement account can come into play. okay, for either yourself as a single person or you as a married person. And that's where maybe you want to get creative. And I have a lot of people come into the channel and say, you know what, I'm sold on passive investing. I totally understand. I get it. This is what I want because it works. And the reality is it does. It does. Sometimes the most boring approaches to stock market investing are the ones that can make you the most money. Okay. They're not always the most sexy. They're not always the ones that are like, hey, man, I can now come onto YouTube and say I'm up 10,000 bucks, right? Those all aren't usually the most appealing to a lot of people. But I contend that that's what a lot of people need to be introduced to in the market. Here's why. If I were to sit across from you and say, look, you're going to have to become a stock analyzer to enjoy some success in the stock market, the majority of people would be turned off by that message. Okay. Now, the flip side of that is if I sit across from people and say, anybody can do this, you need very little experience, what little bit of discipline you can understand about the market will, in fact, help and um, probably help you get to that successful place in the market. I think equally, a lot of people will also turn around and walk away because they either don't believe it or they are attracted to more attractive options in the market, right? That's just not good enough for me. I fail to understand the 8 to 10% rate of return. I don't know what that means. I don't understand how an 8 to 10% rate of return is worth putting the bulk of my wealth with, right? But I think for the majority of people out there, the passive aspect to the market is the key piece. And I also think that a lot of people, when they tune into YouTube and they catch the whole 10x, 100x, my stock portfolio is going to catch fire. I'm not really sure what that means. I think it's probably an analogy, I guess. But when people tune into that, all they see is the 10x. What they don't see is the tax implication, okay, on that holding and the risk necessary to engage in that level of speculation. Okay, that's what's missed. So my response to somebody who's entered into a pretty risky position and won, I would first say congratulations. Okay, let's just say you deployed some skill and you got some success out of a trade. It's luck, but let's give some credit and say you're the best investor ever. Okay. Or you followed the greatest YouTuber and you fell victim to a good trade, right? What does it mean for you? What does it mean for you going forward? Was it a part of a plan? Was it in a tax advantaged account? Was it in a taxable account? Do you even realize that because it was on Robinhood, you're going to need to pay short-term capital gains on that? And I think a lot of people would have deer in the headlights look and be like, what are you talking about? I just want to invest and make 10x every time. What are you talking about, Ryan? The reality is you have to look at and approach investing from a plan perspective. Very, very important to do that. And you have to align that plan a lot like we did for Becky, my good friend. He is here. Happy Thanksgiving to you, my good friend. Align that plan to where it makes sense for you. Okay. And there's an infinite amount of possibilities on how we craft that plan, how we use good assets. And I'm talking good assets. Okay. Speculation has its place, but remember, we're looking at our core nucleus of a portfolio, something that you can look at and you can be like, yep, it's still there. I can sleep good tonight. Right on. I don't have to worry about waking up tomorrow and it's in the tank 15%, right? It's that core nucleus, right? It's that nest egg. It's that everybody can resonate with. It's the folks out there that don't have a lot of money to invest. It's those hard workers out there. Those are the people that I think probably don't frequent YouTube anyway for stock market information or a testimonial like the one that I offer to the YouTube audience, because those people are busy doing their thing. And I think those are some of the most important people to get to, because I think those are the people who probably are the most eligible candidates to succeed in the stock market. They just don't know it. They don't know it. And they're not easily influenced. These are very, very smart people. These are very, very savvy people. And these are also people who know real when they see it. In other words, if you are going to sell me on a program, you better have some substantiation and some substance to back it up. Okay, if I'm going to engage in this, because I'll be dang if I'm going to take my $1,500 a month and I'm going to engage in a program that doesn't make sense to me. Okay, what also doesn't make sense is for me to take, hey, my $1,500 a month and engage in a program where I could wake up tomorrow and a big chunk of it is gone. Then what do we do? Okay, we've really got to evaluate how it is we can curtail investing to the individual, okay, and not speak so genuine to the masses, because I can say what's good for Becky or what's good for me or what's good for J Mac Investing, who just popped in. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours, Jason. What's good for us is not going to be good for everyone else. So you have to be somewhat careful about how you negotiate your inflow of information and how you take those pieces of information and deploy them for the greater good. Okay. And there's a lot of different stages as we evolve into an investor. There's a lot of stages, and I make it very, very easy. We talk about the top 5 investing accounts. At some point, you're going to have to make a decision about your conduit to the stock market. Okay. We talk about them all the time. I talk about Merrill. That just so happens to be mine. Are they the best? I don't know. I don't really care. I've just been with them for over 20 years, and they meet most of my needs. There are some deficiencies with Merrill. I know a lot of people who are happy with Fidelity, TD Ameritrade. Some have went with Vanguard just for the reputation. Some are kind of moving away from E-Trade. I've had a little bit of interest come through on the channel on maybe E-Trade being a little bit shaky a little bit, and then Charles Schwab. Right. So we offer those 5 conduits as just a starting place. And you may look at the independent investor guy and say, Jesus, Ryan mentioned these 5. I don't like any of them. Okay, that's great. You're missing the point. The point is, if at some point you're going to be an investor, you need to think beyond savings account and you need to think beyond checking account. Okay. I have 7 accounts, I think, on the last account, maybe more. Throw the kids in there and it's probably an even 10. I don't really know, but there's a reason for that. It's because each of those accounts provide a strategic advantage to me. Okay. All right. I do plan on going an extended amount of time tonight, guys. So I will take a pause here in the first half hour. I'm super stoked. This is your Thanksgiving present to me, allowing me, for old time's sake, to do a 2-hour live stream, because I do enjoy these. And I think the 60-minute live streams, man, they go too fast. They really do. And I enjoy the heck out of this. All right. So there's the invite there. If anybody in the gallery wants to stop in, they certainly can. I am scheduled to run this thing myself, and I'm prepared to do so if that's what it comes down to. But super, super important that you guys understand. And if you listen to the investing education piece in this, in one word, I just summed up accounts to you in 5 minutes. Okay. You're going to have to choose an account. 5 examples. You don't like the 5? Do your own research and pick something. But at some point, you're going to have to establish that bucket. You're going to have to establish the bucket. It costs nothing. Okay. I'm not going to send you a bill. Okay. Account. All right. And you say, okay, I get this bucket established now. What do I do, man? Do I start tuning into YouTube channels and start filling that bucket with assets? Yes, that's exactly what you want to do if you want to 10x your portfolio. Bring it home for me. All right. Don't be in a hurry. All right. The stock market's not going anywhere. If we've learned nothing else in 2020, life is a gift. Okay. Enjoy it. You should enjoy the process of investing and becoming a wealth builder, because once the process is followed for the first time and you become, you put yourself on the road of evolving as a stock market investor, your life is going to change for the good forever. You're going to adopt disciplines. You're going to find things out about yourself. You're going to test yourself. And you're going to realize things about yourself because you've opted to allow yourself to evolve as a steward of the game. Okay. Now, when I mentioned jam-packed the portfolio full of speculation, okay, but he said he was my uncle, okay, jam-packed the portfolio full of stocks, okay. The YouTube content creator promised me, guaranteed, that it was going to return 10x for my portfolio. All right. None of that is true. None of it. Okay. It's all propaganda to get your subscription. Now, if you want to support the propaganda because it's entertaining, blah, 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 they've got charisma, they wear a suit on, or you feel sorry. Like I felt sorry for Graham Stephan. He's having to pay 1.5 million in taxes. I almost shed a tear for the guy. I really, my heart went out to him. I felt like reaching out to him, YouTuber to YouTuber, and saying, Graham, if you're hurting, bro, I got your back, man. I can help you if you're struggling to put food on the table. I really did. I felt bad. Anyway, I digress. So you've got this bucket, and then you have a landscape of products. Okay. Now, just like an account, there's going to be a time when you're going to have to take dollars and invest them in a product. Okay. Now, the YouTube landscape now has dropped all barriers. Okay. There's certain words that I typically try not to use on YouTube. Why? Because it's illegal. It's illegal. It's illegal. Okay. The word advice. That's a word that a content creator speaking about investing, awareness, stewardship, financial, budget, anything with relation to the stock market should never use. It's rampant now. Okay. Please do away with the rampant. Either you're certified and your opportunity to provide financial advice to people is there based on a credential. That's different. But I highly doubt that the masses, the 500 YouTube channels out right now talking about investing, have the proper credential. And I would just say, look, freedom of speech is great. You can say what you want, but don't sell out. Okay. Don't sell out for the sake of just feeding the beast, feeding the beast, feeding the beast. All right. Because again, I will come back to this. If the YouTube channel blows up to 100,000 subscribers, I'm happy for you. That's great. And I don't care by the nature by which you get there. I don't care. What I do care about is if there is a lack of acknowledgement to new investors that are coming on to a YouTube channel, and you can't hide behind a disclaimer. You can't. Okay. Take responsibility for what you're saying. Take responsibility. And the good ones actually put that responsibility right up front for people. And they say, look, man, this is speculative. You can lose your ass with this. Okay. This is the big leagues. Okay. If you're stepping into the big leagues and you have one expectation or outcome earmarked, you need to reassess, because just like that stock can go up, it can also go down. Okay. It can absolutely go down. You'd be very, very, very careful. Okay. If you had FOMO bought Switchback Energy, which is one of my favorite SPACs right now, if you had bought that on the FOMO rise, you would have been down enormous today. You would have been down almost 50% just this morning if you had bought at the high of 17, right? And Jason's probably nodding his head. I think Jason's long on it. I'm more into the warrant side. And so to give you a little insight on how I'm corralling this SPAC opportunity, at least for me as an investor. Now, I don't share a lot of that through YouTube. That's a personal choice of mine. I also don't want to step on toes, because I think the space is being covered adequately, in my opinion. And I don't think I'm the subject matter point on it. I don't. I'm not the guy that needs to do that, and I choose not to. But my corralling of the SPAC opportunity is really just to keep a short leash on these. And I do really think, I mean, for those that are paying attention, I put out my highly on video on the warrants. Now it's off the algorithm. Okay. It's not being picked up. It did not get watched very much, but free money. Like if I had just titled that free money instead of arbitrage money, which is exactly what's going to happen, guys. The S1 amendment just was submitted yesterday morning. That was what the SEC came back to Hiley on and said, here you go, guys. Here's what you need to fix. Here's the deficiency, the resubmission through the S1 alpha, which is exactly what is supposed to happen. And in red, right on the S1 alpha, it says right there, this is not deemed effective, but this is exactly what we need to have to deem this effective. And I anticipate that it's going to be, a couple weeks. I really don't know. Nobody does. Hyliion can be subject to amendment and deficiency fixing in accordance with what the SEC wants until they get it right. Okay. But the S1 alpha is a very, very common occurrence with the SEC. It's not normal that they get an S1 filing out there and the SEC says, yeah, thank you so much. Now, they took their entire 30 days to review that document, which has kind of got me sitting on my haunches a little bit because I've got paper loss in the warrants that will actually turn into arbitrage profits upon conversion. So there's nobody like me who wants this sucker to be deemed effective on the S1, but I just have to continue to be patient, and I have the tolerance to engage in that level of high level of trading. Okay. But super, super important for you to kind of understand that product piece. Okay. I just think so many people jump right to the product piece all the time. And they don't talk about the structural piece. What am I trying to do with my account? Does it make sense for me with my income to either go taxed advantaged or go with a taxable broker? Okay. Does it make more sense for me to even go with a traditional IRA? Right? It could. Okay. You need to ask those questions as you start to evolve and then put those pieces strategically in place. All right. You'll be so much happier if you build the foundation from the bottom up instead of starting with the roof first. All right. You really will. All right. Thanks to everybody who's made their way on, all the channel creators, man. I really appreciate you guys. Happy Thanksgiving for you. Me personally, this has been one of the strangest years I've ever had. It's been strange. Professionally, it's been the most rewarding. Just to give you an insight, I've jumped in 1 month $50,000 in the portfolio. I typically don't say that over YouTube. That's just how the numbers shook out. We are in the midst of one of our best months since, I believe, the late 1980s here. So it's a good time to be an investor. Okay. I just want to make sure that we're riding through the Octobers as they happen, just like we ride through the Novembers, and not be wishy-washy with our application, okay? We want to make sure that we're not defining the opportunity based on a strategic trade that was placed on a particular holding, okay, last week, and now we're up 10 grand, and we somehow define our investing thesis based on somebody else's success. And that's why I typically try to keep that stuff resolved and reserved for the YouTube audience. I really try to share things that are good for the masses, and I'm not really sure if if coming on and bragging about all my profits. I look at those things. I take them tongue in cheek now. I really do. I have a goal. I have no doubt that I'll get to that goal. And, we'll look to continue to pursue that goal. This investing thing is amazing. And just like investing, the YouTube opportunity, you could have never told me where this thing would have ended up 3 years ago. And I hope new content creators are hearing me out on that, because if you buy into what the masses are maybe telling you about what's successful on YouTube, yeah, you probably would have a better chance at it. But at least for nothing else, free of charge, you can sit across from a guy like myself and look how I've strategically approached the YouTube opportunity, and I've resonated with a few ethical approaches that I don't think a lot of people prescribe to. I don't. All right. I'm going to bring my good friend on, man. One of which that I'm very thankful for. I don't know if he would say that he was encouraged at some point in his young life on the Independent Investor channel. I really don't know, but we're going to bring him on and talk. What's going on, my man? Happy Thanksgiving. How are you?
Ryan, happy Thanksgiving, bro. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. I think I could probably just say sayonara to this year. It's just been bad. Some of it has hit home because I've got some folks in the community here that have told me, and I've got some folks now that are kind of coming down with this pandemic, and it's like it's still just it won't go away. So my
Yeah,
heart goes out. It really does. And we're staying in this Thanksgiving. I don't know if you've traveled. Did you travel or did you stay home?
I haven't had any reason to travel.
I don't want to, be honest. It just I want to try to do the right thing. I don't necessarily feel getting I don't fear getting sick. It's just I'm trying to protect other people. That's kind of the way I feel. But
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
nonetheless, man, talk to me, man. I haven't talked to you for a while. I want you to pulse me in on the project because one of the topics I wanted to earmark tonight was some of the younger YouTube creators, some of which are just fantastic people, fantastic channels, and fantastic information. Um, it's interesting some of the comments that I get on the YouTube creators Facebook group. It's interesting. It's some of the like learning curves that I had to go through on how to remain relevant and remain motivated and
yeah.
all the stuff that you got to kind of like get over 100 times over if you're a
Mhm.
YouTube creator. But talk to me, man. How things going?
Great, man. It's great to talk to you. I last time I talked to you, I told you I had a baby on the way, and she
Mm,
has now been born. So, September 22nd, welcomed a little girl into the world. Named her Hendrix. I'm a guitar player, so it was a natural name.
yes, yes,
But
man.
the thing that I've been really focused and excited about lately is establishing a UTMA account for my little girl.
Sure, sure.
And so it's kind of cool because I got into the investing game. I would consider late, about 28, 29 years old, which
Mm,
is relatively early. But for me, I look at the opportunity cost of that 10 years that I lost, and now I have this little girl, and it feels like I can get some time back. So, got that account established for her, and I would encourage. I think a lot of people aren't aware of the UTMA opportunity, and they
yeah,
default to the 529 opportunity.
yes.
I think they both have their pros and their cons, but I've really been trying to advocate for UTMA as a educational vehicle if you have a little kid.
Yeah, so I have both. Is there an echo on your end? Can you mute one of your tabs? I think that might be it. I'll troubleshoot for you on the fly. Now it's not. I'm
I'll
not.
turn my volume down. I've got you on a speaker, so I'll turn the volume down.
Okay, yeah, I don't hear it now. So whatever you just did, if you use the force on it, I don't know.
I turned
Um,
the volume down. Yeah.
Fantasmic. I have both for my kids. And I think if I were going to start with the drawback of the UTMA first, I think it's cool because my kids have me as their dad. So therefore, they're going to invest whether or not they want to invest or not. So I
Right.
just kind of force feed that. A lot of um, parents or guardians may look at that UTMA and say, "Whoa, hold on, they're legally entitled to this money." when they
Yep.
when they reach the vesting age. Now it depends on what state you live in. It could be 18, it could be as high as 21 respectively. Okay.
Yep.
Um I like that idea. I don't think that way. I don't think like people in general, but I think some people may have an ethical problem with that in that I had to work for everything that I got and I wouldn't have the appreciation if I was just given a gift like that. However, I look at it a little different. I think with the proper coaching and the proper acknowledgement, and my kids both have got a pretty good head on their shoulder, and they get overshowered with love in my household. I would rather opt to do it and make that decision when they are incapable of making that decision at their young age than
Mm-hmm.
than not do it. Does that make
Right.
sense? Um,
Totally does.
sure.
And I think the other thing you have to consider too is, of course, there is the risk of, they turn 18, or where I'm at in Florida, it's 21. They turn 21 and they go and blow the money on tattoos like I probably would have done when I was 18.
That's
Um,
okay. I like
but
tattoos.
how does that really differ than, again, if you haven't done the work of building a child that's capable of being a fully formed adult? how is that any different than sending them away to a college
Yeah.
on an account that you've established for them, where they're going to ditch class and smoke weed all day and play
Yeah.
and party, you know?
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
think regardless of what investment vehicle you choose for your child and the restrictions and limitations, pros and cons, there's always the risk that they're going to waste that money away. So I think the opportunity that I see with the UTMA account is the advantage of being able to, like I said, use it as an educational vehicle. So when they get to the age where they're compensated for chores or whatever the routine is in your house, forcing them to shave some of that off the top and then sit
Yeah.
down and talk about what we're going to do with that money. And I was really inspired by some of J-Mac's videos that he had done with his little girls.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I don't know if he's utilizing a UTMA account or what his process is, but I was like, you know what, that right there, sitting down and talking with a little girl about how we are responsible with money, like that
Yep.
dude's doing something right.
He is doing something right. And I will add to that and say, who else is going to do it for you? And
Sure.
are you going to leave it to life influences to teach those lessons? I got to be honest with you. I feel like for me, it was the latter. I feel like I mean, in the pursuit of happiness and money and hard work, etc., I put myself out there. I really
Hmm.
did, working on a boat and ending up in some crazy spots. I'm thankful to be here and reflection over my life and the road I've been on. I guess I wouldn't trade it for anything, but it never hurts to provide a little bit of coaching and tutelage along the line. And I don't even know if my mom and dad were capable of providing that tutelage because it was never really a priority for them. Right? I love them none the same, all the
Sure.
same. Right? It didn't really matter, but they weren't the right ones to provide that. Sometimes I still wonder how I ended up the way that I did because I kind of came upon this information and had to learn a lot the hard way. But I think all guardians should provide that to their kids. I think it can be one of the most lasting things. And I probe my children on the conversation every now and then. And I'm waiting for that opportunity when I feel like they are receptive and really ready to receive the message. Because I can't,
Right.
at 13 years old, 9 years old, respectively, how much can I really expect them? I mean, my little guy, he's into Nintendo and and
Right.
that type of thing. But nonetheless, we always want to try to make sure that we're providing that opportunity and guidance to let them know, and also try not to supplement the value of a hard-earned dollar as well.
Sure.
I can rest assured say I know how to work for money. I've done it. I've been in a situation where I had no money,
Hmm.
and I don't. I wish that upon anybody how it feels to go to the ATM and see when it says insufficient funds.
Right.
And it's not all easy in life.
Hmm. Yep.
But yeah, no, that's true. I do both for the kids, just because I think the benefit of the 529 is kind of it's specific to college piece, whereas the UTMA can be used for whatever that you want.
Right.
Um, so I do have a
Yeah.
little bit in both.
Yeah. I think if I have down the road, if I have a second child, I think I'll probably lean into 529 just because of the opportunity to, if one of them decides not to go to school, to be able to reassign that money to the other one without paying the penalties and taxes.
Yeah,
But my own personal experience growing up, it plays a big factor too. Never I never wanted to do anything in life that a college degree was required. So
well
I
said.
felt like college was very much something that was pushed on me, and
Yeah, yep.
ultimately, I didn't end up going to college, and I found
Mhm.
success on my own. And so I
Yeah,
felt kind of like when I was evaluating my options that just by virtue of establishing a 529 and contributing to it, there's an implication that it's an expectation that you go to college because this is what I've saved for. And so the flexibility of being able to say, hey, like, you're an adult now, this money is yours, and You can use it for a down payment on a house. You can use
Yeah.
it to start a business. You can
Yeah.
go to school with it if you want to. You
Yeah.
can do whatever you want to with it, but
Yeah.
this is my contribution to you to set you up for success and send you off into the world. To me, that felt like it was more conducive to the type of relationship that I would hope to forge
Yeah.
with my daughter over the course of her life. But if I have
Yeah.
another one, I'll definitely throw some cash in a 529 just for those tax
Yeah.
implications.
I started mine when my kids were born. The
Yeah,
529s. I
man.
started those first, and I think if I had it to do over again, I would have just done strict UTMA just because I like the freedom of what the money can be used for, number one. Number two, I like the freedom within the account to choose what I want. And
Yeah,
just being able to choose VTI for the kids, which is my favorite total stock market, they're killing it. They're both up 31%. And it's like, whoa, that's passive investing. I don't touch their stuff. I don't,
right.
I monitor it and it's like, wow, that little amount is up. And it's amazing how it adds up. The 529s are up to a sizable amount now. My daughter, 13, she's been invested passively since she was born. And
Yep.
to get that jump start on things, yeah, at that it came right down to a decision. Basically, it's not about the money. It's not about missing the money. It's not about what I could have bought otherwise. It's just a very simple decision on money that I never missed. Never.
Right. And
Yeah.
like I said, to me, I get more excited about dropping money into that account than I do my own Roth,
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
ultimately, why are we so motivated to have a great retirement? It's to leave a legacy. And if I can sow directly into that, and then of course when you start running the compound interest calculators, and you're like, man, what if I can get her to the point where she turns 21 and she gets all this money and she never touches it,
Yeah.
and she gets 50? What's it going to look like? It's like, that's incredibly motivating.
I think I think you struck on an interesting wealth building philosophy for anybody that's looking to get off of the launch pad. I think so many people, it's kind of what I talked about in the top of this live stream. It's people go after way too much result
Yeah.
without a proper acknowledgement to the risk. And what I mean by that is you almost end up running in quicksand rather than just opting for a nice calculative, governed program that is set up for the long term,
Mm-hmm.
instead of opting for those higher risk. And it's like you're up 10,000, now you're down 6,000, now you're up 2,000, maybe you sell that, and you're into something else, and you just end up going back and forth, and you end up kind of a wash, and you really never ever have a plan. But
Right.
you're right. I think the quicker you can acknowledge to get through those first few levels of wealth, the 10,000 mark, the 25, how I break that down, because I think so many people they want to throw out millions, and not everybody out there needs millions. Okay. I'm going to say something scary. And a lot of people are like, yeah, I need millions, Ryan, leave me alone. I'm going to get it. It's like, no, you don't. You freaking don't. There's people in
Right.
this world who can't feed themselves. You don't need millions. Okay. Nobody does. If that's what you're aspiring to, okay, we can set up a plan to get you to seven figures if that's what you want, come hell or high water. But a lot of people, if they just evaluate what it is they need to supplement other aspects, right? Social Security, 401k, basic living principles. Like, I'm not going to build you a program. In other words, my message is not about how many Ferraris you can park in the driveway. I'm not appealing to that type of strategy. My appeal is to building $250,000 of wealth for somebody that would have otherwise not had that
Mm-hmm.
encouragement or opportunity to put themselves on the path.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is more powerful, and it also scales to the majority of people, because a lot of people can be like, wow, you mean I can have some financial security? It's not, even though the societal pressure to get that $1 million put away is out there, I can do okay with this. And it's like,
Yep.
yeah, man, yeah, you can
Right.
game it out a little bit.
Yep. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's been interesting, really interesting. Of course, when the whole pandemic hit and everything was, tanking, nobody was hitting me up asking for tips. But now that we're back to all-time highs, everybody's like, dude, should I buy some Tesla?
Oh man, this is something that I will struggle with, my friend, and you will too, Connor. Like, it's isn't that funny? The psychology of the market. It intrigues me. I know why it's there. It's okay. Everybody wants to feel good when it's time to feel good, but everybody wants to feel bad when it's time to feel bad.
Hmm.
And if you can just put that aside, everything you think you understand about the stock market, just put it aside and take a different perspective. Flip it around, you know, flip it around because now is the time right now. I've got the updated portfolios. I can run the banners, but I'm up really nice, but I've been shaving some profit off. I'm good. I sell a little bit. And everybody is talking about, man, we got to invest, 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 invest. Tell you the last thing I'm doing is investing heavy right now. I'm not. You
Yeah,
know,
I caught your video. You got a pretty sizable cash position right now, which I know is rare for you.
um, it is rare. I think if I were just to, how do I answer this question? Because it is rare, but I call it my float. I
Yep.
kind of explain this in, if it were March of 2020, I would be full throttle because I didn't have my brokerage account entering into the pandemic. I didn't have it. Okay. I had maybe a
Mhm.
few holdings, but it was nothing like it is now. I incepted that during the depths of the pandemic. I established that third account and it has killed it this year. Killed it. 40,000
Yep.
of trading profit, not to mention the appreciation. It's up over 100,000. But now it's like, okay, well, I started that in, early March into the depths when nobody else was investing. Now I look at it like now's my opportunity to take some of that profit off of the table. It doesn't change my long thesis. It just allows me to pull back a little bit on my 99% full throttle approach and digress back to, let's say, like a right now I'm about 75-25 overall. 75-25. So you're right about, it's not typical for me. I think it kind of is maybe a little bit more than that brand of, because I do like to float, and I'm not one of those individuals that trust the stock market. I'm looking to use the stock market as a tool to get me where I need to go. I don't love the stock market. As a matter of fact, I understand it for what it is, and it can be very, very humbling. It can be rewarding, but I'm not looking to be married to the stock market and trust the stock market indefinitely at all times. No way.
Hmm.
It doesn't mean that some of my long positions, like some of my accounts, my passive accounts, they remain invested no matter what. So
Right.
it gives me kind of that little bit of latitude in the other places to take some profit off the table, live to fight another day, and observe, right? If the market continues up, I win. If the market does pull back, which will never happen, right? Then I'm sitting in a position where I've left myself options instead of being like, wow, I just thought it was just going to go up forever. I guess I was wrong
Sure.
there.
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
just that's my thought.
Makes a lot of sense. I mean, you've been in the game a lot longer than me, and I'm still really focused on establishing that passive base, achieving
Yes.
that number that I want to. So, of course, I feel it never makes sense to sell an ETF
No,
for profits unless you're in a
no way.
sector specific ETF and you feel that that sector is going to die. But I don't see, I'm not there yet. So, yeah, so I haven't done anything but buy this year.
You don't need to.
But
You know,
I've been buying I've been buying a lot of mid cap growth ETF. I don't know
nice.
why. I think mainly because I'm trying to keep dividends down, protect myself from taxes.
Okay. Don't you have the individual account, or your income is high, right? So you've got
Yeah,
some
I got a good
tax,
income, and then
right?
I've got my Roth maxed out already, so everything I'm
Yep.
doing is in taxable. So
Yep.
I've been favoring mid cap growth, just to try to keep that income down. And it's been killing it this year. So not inclined to sell ETF positions.
No, and what are we talking about for a number? Are we talking about 10? Are we talking about four figures, five figures, six figures in the
Yeah,
portfolio?
I'm aiming towards achieving a six-figure
Woo!
passive base in a taxable account, and I'll
Woo!
be there. I'll be there by the end of the year.
How's that feel?
Awesome,
It's
man.
a big
Incredible.
milestone, man. Do you remember? I mean, it wasn't that long ago when you started investing, right? I mean, you haven't been doing this that long, right?
No, no, about 3, 4 years.
So it's possible
Totally
to
possible.
grow
Yeah.
wealth, you know?
You just have to, the thing that's been most successful for me is just I treat my investment program with the same level of respect that I treat my mortgage. I pay it when it's due, right?
I love it, man. I love it. I said the first night I met you, man, I was like, if you started a YouTube channel, people could really, really resonate with you, man. Because
Dude,
I just
I
think the
know,
world of
man.
them.
You know what? I've taken a liking to doing what we're doing right now, just in person. You, the thing that you kicked the stream off with tonight is, catering to the algorithm, even making thumbnails that are going to, there's a formula for a thumbnail, right? The big bold text, the background, the picture.
That part of it, I think I would give myself a fairly decent mark on that. I've evolved. If you go back and look at my early product, they're terrible, and now I think we're okay. Like Connor, there was a time where I didn't know how to drop a background. Okay, like in all fairness to myself, you guys are experts in this. I'm not. I learned from. I knew nothing. I didn't know what upload meant. Okay, I learned all this from scratch, and maybe I'm more the wiser now because I could teach this stuff. Because now it's like and learning Canva and learning what the function of it is and how to do certain things. Oh God, just
Oh no.
countless hours.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
I've seen even just this year the investments you made in the channel, and the production value continues to get better. It's not that. It's that when I started thinking about how I wanted to approach that, it didn't feel like I'd be able to put out a product that was authentic to myself. Because
man,
what I want to do is I want to get on
yeah.
here and tell everybody that they're effing morons. Nobody nobody wants to watch that. So,
Yeah,
but I
that
have
well,
found a lot of success doing
oh,
this face to face, and people are more tolerant of my crass attitude when we're sitting across from each other. So,
it's honestly it's kind of that raw realism. I really respect. I really do. What really turns me off to YouTube channels is and I wish everybody the success, right? They're doing what they
sure.
need to do to get their hustle on and get their success. That's great. But man, I'm not going to feel sorry for you for paying $1.5 million in taxes. Like I get what you're trying to do by trying to say, hey, Kevin's doing this and Graham's doing this. And my response to Kevin, it's like, I don't care. You're just two
Right.
people and I really don't care. You can piss off for all I care. Um, and it's the type of language that gets people from a larger perspective involved in the stock market in a manner that I don't think is conducive to the masses. That's what irritates me the most. And I don't know. Me personally, brother,
100%.
I got to tell you, I don't watch YouTube. Anytime I try to consume, because I'm a creator myself
Yeah.
and I think my message is good. Okay. I wouldn't do this if I didn't think it was good. Now I have some reaffirmation from people who say, look, man, you really helped me. And that's the type of thing where I'm like, okay, I don't get arrogant about it, but it's like, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Man,
No.
there's not enough appreciation in the world today, but you know, different strokes for different folks. And
Yep.
I don't mean to be down, but it's like when I sit on a live stream and I can't stand it for more than 5 minutes because I disagree with every single thing that's coming out the individual's mouth.
Hmm.
Furthermore, I look to review the comments and it's like, oh, amen, amen, oh, amen, oh, God bless you, God bless you, and it's like, no, that's not what God bless you is about. It's not.
Yeah.
Where's the person that is at least disagreeing? Is there anybody else in here other than me that's disagreeing with this garbage? It's
Yeah.
garbage. If
Yeah.
you deploy what is being said, you will fail. Okay. Maybe that's what people want. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you should feel good about what you're doing, man. I'm happy to just be a participant in the community.
I
I've
would,
reflected on it quite a bit, and I don't think content creation is in the cards for me. I'm happy to just show up and banter with you guys from time to time. And like I said, I really enjoy sharing knowledge from people in my life that come to me and they want my time face to face, and
Yeah.
I've had
Yeah.
great success with that. And
Absolutely.
so that's what I'm going to continue to do, and I'm going to continue to show up and support you. And if I want a little extra, I'll kick it over to Matt and Kyle, and that's all I need, man.
Fantastic, man. Your impact for those people is that's where the magic is. It's for no other reason. And I think when you're in that and you can sit across from somebody and see that you're saying the right thing, or at least being given the empowerment to provide that one little spark, everybody's different. It take a little bit different approach, man. That's why coaching and mentoring is so challenging, because
Yeah.
there's nothing you can deploy from a cookie cutter perspective. Like sometimes you just got to have utter compassion for somebody,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
understand where they're coming from first. But you're doing it, brother. You really are, and I'm proud of you. I don't mean to sound condescending. I don't in the least. But man,
No, it
you're one of
means a
you're one
lot,
of my
man.
faves, brother. You're one of my faves, man. From the first night I met you, it was like it's awesome. It gives me some reaffirmation to know that people like you are out there.
Hey, bro.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for having me on, man. I'm gonna keep
Anytime.
watching.
You got it, brother. Take it easy, all
Take
right?
care, man.
All right, man. So if anybody else, so happy Thanksgiving, and thank you to Connor. That's great, man. I thought I had talked him into that, but it's amazing how we all deploy this game. I'm dropping a new invite into the stream. We are about halfway through, and I'm going to remain on for a full 2 hour, just like old school. I told you I would. This is typically what I pace myself for. I pace myself for a 15-round fight, and I've been used to fighting like an 8-round fight. So this is more my speed. I really enjoy it. I don't feel rushed. I feel like we can really put a quality product out there. And like I said, the people who are core to the message, they'll end up sitting through whether it be a 60-minute or a 2 hour live stream, and they'll be like, wow, that individual said some things that made me think. He had a guest on, and Connor said some things that made me think, just it's okay to challenge yourself. What he said about other content, not everybody has all the answers. That's the key to that. And there's the invite right there, guys. If you are interested, you're welcome to pop in and wish me a happy Thanksgiving. I'd pour you a drink, but we're not quite to that technology just yet. But nonetheless, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Yeah, it kind of segues me into a topic that I did want to talk about tonight for some new content creators. And I would imagine that very, very, very few people will hear this if they stick around for the totality of the live stream. I'll give my quick synopsis on YouTube. Okay. If you're looking to start a YouTube channel and your primary objective is to make money, you're going to fail. All right. You'll fail. Some of you will succeed, but the vast majority, if in fact that is your objective, will fail. Doing YouTube has got to be centered around a thesis, or a mission statement, or something. You have to be able to answer for yourself why it is, in fact, you're doing this mission. And I think there's a lot of people out there that just, man, they trip and they fall into YouTube and they just kill it. And I'm not speaking about anybody in our community at all, but I think this gig, if people had to walk the road that I walked to seek out success on YouTube, they probably would have quit a long time ago, because I'm not a social media guy. I'm not tech savvy. This was out of sheer will that I figured, look, I have way too many people approaching me like Connor does, right, in person. And I do think that's where a lot of the magic happens. But if your sheer intent is money, I think you're going to be sorely mistaken on this gig, because I think you're going to find out really, really quick. If your objective is money, money means that you really have to give YouTube the product that they want. And I think for an inexperienced YouTuber, I think sometimes you'll fall victim to that, and then you seek out that level of success on YouTube. Then you're stuck having to continually feed that beast, and it can be very, very consuming. And I typically would chalk YouTube up as being a fairly unhealthy type of activity. That's why I keep it to a minimum. That's why when I throw down on a live stream, you get my undivided attention for either 60 minutes or 2 hours, whatever it may be, however I'm feeling during the offering. And I walk away and I'm done. I'll move on with my evening. I'll continue with my Walking Dead that I'm on right now, or Breaking Bad, whatever I choose. Those are the two I'm flip-flopping, because Mandalorian's not delivering as quick as I need. All right. But Breaking Bad and Walking Dead, man, I'm into them. Very cool stuff. But I just appreciate everybody making their way on. It's pretty awesome on a Wednesday, short notice. Means a lot to me. So very cool. Christian says Wednesday live stream. That is correct. He's confused as well as I am. I just had a whim, and that's exactly what I did. All right. I did have somebody asking about the Viper group as well. I'm going to cruise up here and just drop one of the banners. I believe this is it. Yeah, it is. So if you go to independentinvestorgroup.com, you can join the Viper group. It's fantastic. Here in just over a month, I will raise the price for the Viper group at 75% off right now. That will be a legacy price as we look to build out a base. Sound familiar? In that group, I've got friends of mine in that group. I have freaking colleagues in there. I have people that mean the freaking world to me. Okay. So the entry is a check and balance, unlike my Facebook group where the check and balance is a little bit light. It's not monetary in nature. However, the Viper group is exclusive, and I drop exclusive content in there. There is your entry code to the Facebook group if you are interested. That is a free conduit. If I was going to progress into the independent investor opportunity, that's what I would do. I'd join the Facebook group first, get a feel for some of those cats in there, guys that are in fact 10x smarter than me. And I think one of the most extremely interesting perspectives to the stock market, if you really want to 10x your opportunity in the stock market, how about surrounding yourself with 10x type of people? Okay. Don't worry about rendering 10x returns in your portfolio. That is and shouldn't be a primary objective at all in your program. Okay. But there it is. Shout out to the Vipers for sure. I thought I would run that because I did quickly look up and see one of the asks of me on how to join that. And that's how you join it there. I encourage you to pick the highest membership rating. That is the Viper level. That gets you a half hour. I'll stretch it to 60 minutes if that's what you need. But it's a Zoom session with me, one-on-one, one-on-two, one-on-three. Have grandma, have grandpa. I don't care. But that's an opportunity to open up your potential with a one-on-one from me, and hopefully we can earmark some areas of opportunity for you using my prism of helping, coaching, mentoring. That's kind of what I do. I put myself aside. I don't focus on what's good for me. I focus on what's good for you. And that's just it. Come January 2nd, the price will go back up to $100 for entry. That's because I don't want people in there until I run the special again. I'll focus on my core Viper group, and we'll look to improve their opportunity because these are all friends of mine. That's simple. So that's just what we're going to do. All right. The cruise on down here at Investing with Aaron. Happy Thanksgiving to you, my friend. Really appreciate it. Ryan, what is your current stock to bond percentage in your portfolio? It's a hell of a question. I appreciate it. I'm going to tell you right now, I have zero bond exposure. I think it is by nature of the last read that I have, Simple Wealth. I could grab it for you and show you. But it really had me thinking about bond exposure as kind of a setup for potentially not reaching your goals down the line. In other words, is bond investing really in line with a wealth building strategy or a wealth protecting strategy? And I came to terms with the fact that perhaps bond investing at this particular juncture was not for me. I've opted for the ETF route, sector ETFs, diversified exposure, yes. And the closest to bond proxies that I have, or something that kind of fills that niche for me, is more on the lines of owning AT&T, Altria Group, Southern Company, Duke Energy, so some regulated utilities and some high-paying dividend companies from telecom, as well as some defense names. I've got Lockheed Martin. So instead of owning a diversified bond fund or corporate debt or government-backed securities, I just opt for the option to seek out some exposure that way. Higher dividend yield to boot and a little bit of chance at some capital appreciation. But it's a heck of a question. I'm not saying that my perspective is right for everybody. That's just mine. And I think absolutely gets a lot more appropriate as you get older in age. But I do caveat that and say to make sure that you can answer the question, why am I looking to gain bond exposure in the portfolio? Is it meeting a strategic goal or is it to protect wealth? Okay. And you need to make sure that you're satisfied with that answer and making sure that you're reaching that end. Okay. Very cool. Christian says, this is awesome. Thank you. You are awesome. I don't know if he's talking about me. I have no idea. Having some fun tonight for sure. All right. Here's a long one. SLF. I threw a wrench at SLF tonight. I hope you don't mind. I hope you caught it. You're indeed now a moderator. Your question to me was a good one. Really appreciate your comments and reaching out to me in private. That was cool. I think Qualcomm is well positioned. It is. ABGO, that is Broadcom. That's a heck of a play too. I wish I could grow a spine and actually hold these long. I can't. The only chip play that I have right now is NVIDIA, and I own such a small amount in the growth portfolio, and it's up like 150%, something stupid. But I probably would have taken profits a long time ago. Investing with M1s allows me to keep my mitts off of my own portfolio, if that makes sense. But anyway, enjoying the ride. If it ever dips down again, I may scoop up some more for sure. You are a very disciplined investor. You were talking about Albemarle, I believe, in that conversation that we were having with the lithium play, and I think it's a smart play. You're up 98% in the name. That's fantastic. It's one of those things to where I want success to be commonplace on the Independent Investor channel, because it just really does speak to how many opportunities are out there in the market, many of which don't get talked about. How many know that Cisco Foods, not Cisco Systems, the one I own, doubled from the pandemic low? Cisco, the dividend king, right? And nobody talks about those things. How about you talk about the upgrade today? Goldman Sachs upgraded Leggett and Platt, one of those great aristocrats, if not already up into king territory. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think it is, but it's pretty close. 3.5 yielder, right? Leggett and Platt, new price target at 45, up to a buy. Goldman Sachs, right? Those value plays, man, they'll get it done for you, and they're not going to keep you up at night. Okay, very cool. Mr. Wheeler, listening to the best YouTuber. Yeah, I don't know. There was a tally, I guess. I don't think I'm very well known, to be honest with you. And I do relish in that. I really do. I really do focus on the relationships that I have with people who make their way to the message. And they're like, wow, this guy's real. This guy's real. He does everything that he talks about, which is true. It always makes me cringe a little bit when people are recommending all these stocks, but then they say, well, I can't show you my portfolio. It's like, it takes away credibility in my eyes, because if you're willing to share through a testimonial what it is that you do, but you can't share that. I can't put substance with that. I can't. And I'll be the first to say, maybe it's my deficiency. Maybe it's mine. Lack of trust. I'm a cynic. I don't trust anybody. I trust myself. I trust my wife. I trust my kids. I trust my family. Outside of that, to be honest with you, I'm going to say something crazy. You guys don't know me either. Okay? Stop being so trustworthy. That's the whole point to this message. 10x, I've got something for you, bitch. Right? It's crazy to me how many people out there are way too gullible. Way too gullible. I think it's unfortunate. Trying to strike a nerve here. So you guys, not you guys, but people who catch this live stream, maybe 1 or 2 or 10 or 12, I don't know. I can't put a thumb on the full impact over YouTube, but I hope the right person comes across this and it's like, you know what, man, he's right. Maybe I need to just trust myself more. And if I start trusting myself, yeah, maybe I'll make some mistakes, but maybe I'll have successes, but I'll own them all. I'll own them all. If I deploy everybody else's program, boom, 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 it's everybody else's mistake. And all I have left is to blame all those other people for me deploying their strategy. Okay. It just seems crazy to me, man. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, man. This is my internal struggle that's been going on for the last year on YouTube. It's crazy, but it is empowering to me personally to have people make their way onto the message and say, yeah, I agree with you, man. I think most people are full of crap, and they are. I have 80K sitting in cash from recent slide in the market. Sure. Where do I park it till the market drops again and then deploy it? Mike, you're touching on one of the most common questions that I get. It's usually framed a little bit different. It's usually like, "Hey, I'm up huge. Should I sell and wait for the market to crash and then buy back in?" It comes right from memory. I know this because I get it emailed to me DM all the time. Really would just have to. I would have to understand the circumstances surrounding that question. Is the 80K all you have? Do you have a cash buffer? Is the credit paid off? Do you have house? Do you have a mortgage? Okay. Do you have solid income coming in? All of the answers to those underlying questions would help me understand how much of that capital you would be putting to risk, regardless of acknowledging where the stock market is right now, that it just crept over 30,000. And I would just answer your question with a rhetorical question and say, why is so many people looking to jump into the market right now when I would have never got this question when the market was at its all-time low in March of 2020? On March 23rd, I would have never got a question like this. I know this because I have a data pool through YouTube that's just as good as any to give me insight on the investor psyche, what people are thinking. Nobody was thinking about investing at 18.2. Nobody. And how come everybody and their mother's thinking about investing at 30,000, almost, double from where it was at its March pandemic lows, right? To get back to your question, if you really want to put some capital to risk, and again, with me not having the answers to any of those fundamental questions, with the market at an all-time high, it would be conducive, or at least if I was in your shoes, to take a small percentage of that, at most 50%, maybe even 25%, and say, you know what, I can put 20,000 to risk here and then just put the 60 aside. The cash really isn't hurting you. If you think 25% is too light, then bump it up to the 40K, right? If you say, yeah, half is too light, right? It gets you along that thinking of how to strategically split up money and not just look at it holistically from an 80K perspective, which is a good large lump of capital. But answering that question now, November 25th, right before Thanksgiving, at an all-time high in the market, I'm going to answer that question based on what the market is telling us now. Then I would have answered it at the end of March of this year. And this was just a few months ago, a drop in the bucket showing you the power of how volatile the market can be. Okay. Those would have been your opportunities to buy. And you would have looked at me and said, you're crazy, Ryan. Nobody's buying. The stock market's going to zero. And I would have been like, okay, yeah, leave me alone. I'm hitting the buy button myself, telling people, hey, maybe now is the time to look at putting some capital to risk. But it is amazing to me how the mind shifts a little bit. But given that we have a market right now where it is, I would just use scale in entering into the market. And depending on your other layers in your program, that 10 out of 10 investors, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, if you haven't invested or you're looking to park some capital in the market, enter the market strategically. Okay. I just entered another position into VTI. I bought 25 shares, very simple starting position for me. It was out $10,000 position, $4,000 position, 5,000. Yeah. 8,000, something like that. It's a starting position for me. Right. So kind of look at that and say, hey, what would a starting position in a passive asset look like? Is it tax protected? Is it not tax protected? Those are the types of questions that you kind of want to revolve around. So it's a hell of a question. It's a good one. I get it all the time. I think just in thesis, if you were looking to get some value from the answer, I would say tread with caution. Tread with caution. If there's anything I've learned in 25 years, it's the stock market goes the hell down too. I don't operate in any other way. Like I can't come on and be like, yay, the stock market is awesome, man. If you invest like me, you're going to make 15x or you're going to make 10x or 100x just like me. I have been through way too many ups and downs in the market to think that that is commonplace in the market, because it's not. It's never as good as you think it is, and quite frankly, it's never as bad as you think it is either. So adjust accordingly. Okay, adjust to win in an up market or a down market. Okay, understand why you're investing. What is your time horizon? I don't even know how old you are, right? It's okay. It's okay. We get these questions all the time, myself and other channel creators, and it's okay as long as we can start to revolve around those questions as commonplace. You'll understand about maybe how to answer those questions for yourself and say, you know what, Ryan's right. Maybe that 50% mark is a little bit too rich for me. Extrapolating what the market is giving us now, maybe that 20% makes sense. Maybe that 25% at 20 grand makes sense. Maybe that's too rich for you. Maybe you're like, you know what, I'm going to put 10 grand to work, and that's okay. If it makes sense to you, then it makes sense to you. Okay. And you're more apt to stay with that program instead of being like, hey, I've got this hot SPAC that's going to 10x your money. You can take that 80 grand and turn it into 800 grand by next week. Okay. Don't do that. Okay, please. Geez, Louise, I should have a disclaimer at the bottom. Please don't do that. But it's all about strategic split up of money. It doesn't matter if you're talking 80. Doesn't matter if you're talking 8 or 800. Doesn't matter. It's all about the fundamental approach to how we split up money and we allocate them to strategic buckets. The cash bucket, I'm a fan of. All right. Live to fight another day. I just talked to Connor about it. I'm kind of cash rich right now a little bit, and that's totally fine. I wish I lived in a world that I could just invest in the market and get a guaranteed 10% rate of return. That doesn't exist. So I have to acknowledge what the market is telling me at any given time and adjust accordingly in accordance with my risk tolerance to the market. Okay. Because at the end of the day, I don't trust the market. I don't. All right. Very cool stuff. All right. Yes, begin. Yep, there's the SEP IRA, set limit orders. JMax is A. Or that's an I. I don't know if that's a Viking cry or something. I don't know. Doesn't Jason look like a Viking? It looks like he's got some Irish roots, man. He looks like that guy from Braveheart, right? William Wallace's buddy. That's awesome, man. Yeah, man. Don't go to battle unless J-Max on your side, for sure. Very cool. Gold and silver. I haven't brought myself yet there. I like the play. I like the physical aspect of gold and silver better. I really do. I think investing in gold and silver is something that I pursue in a very unique manner, in that I do think that there's more value in the physical stored form of value in either junk silver or bullion or collectible coinage, gold and silver bar. I even think there's great value in wearables. I do, because wearables, I've read books on this, and the ability to take certain wearables with you to other countries, okay, is attractive to me. In that if I've got, wearables that I can put on an airplane and tuck underneath of my rig, then I could potentially go cross borders with those stored forms of value with me. And I find value in that. I'm just a dork like that. I like it. But I currently am very, very light on gold and silver. I really like the idea. I do. But I'm very light right now. My first strategic improvement in my total portfolio is to increase the position in real estate. There's no doubt about it. I'm really hurting right now, not having a house. And, it's nice to see that people who do own a home right now are really in a great spot. I don't know if we'll be able to say the same into 2021. I have a feeling real estate's going to be hurting next year. I really do. Okay. I hope I'm wrong. I don't think I am. Okay. Very cool. SLV, I think it's a good play. Again, it's a good way of doing it because a lot of people, like All Good, maybe, and many others out there, if you truly acknowledge the importance of the responsibility that you may have to safeguard hard assets, then SLV provides you that opportunity to press a button and get exposed to that market, right? It's very, very simple, but it goes against my thesis that precious metals is an investment rather than a hedge. Okay. I look at it like a hedge. In other words, I would buy gold and silver in the physical form and never sell it. That's just me. It would be an asset that I entered into with no intention to sell it. Therefore, it's not an investment. It's a hedge against other investments, right? That's just the way I look at it. All right. Very cool. Boxing ring background is on point. Aloha. You've been with me a long time, my brother. Thank you so much for all the support. I'm thankful for you, man. Fantastic. This channel, the independent investor community, is made up of a lot of different empowered investors out there spreading the word. How do I know this? Because they tell me that they are. Yeah. Yep. We put you on a wealth building program that's conducive to you. It fits in and is aligned with your needs, and maybe we encouraged you to pursue that avenue where otherwise you wouldn't have pursued that avenue. And that's very powerful. The ability through free will to change the course in your life is very, very powerful. Very, very, it's awesome. I'm a firm believer that you can change your life at any time. I believe that you can take it this way. If you don't want to go that way, you can take it this way. It's just the free will. Free will. It's one of my favorite things to think about. Am I on course? Do I need to course adjust? Do I need to radically change direction? Do I need to maybe pursue this over here as opposed to pursuing this over here? Right? Be dynamic in your application. Don't be rigid. Okay. You're not going to be the same investor that you are today, tomorrow. There's no way in hell. And a lot of people do fear change. And that's really unfortunate of a perspective in the stock market, because it is going to require you to change. You're not going to be able to spend like an asshole. It's not going to work that way. You're not going to be able to not carry out a budget. You're not going to be able to not put some attention toward this, depending on what layer you choose, right? But man, for those people out there that do seek out this opportunity and just want to know how, then that's what we're looking to do is provide that spark and start for you. Absolutely. All right. Now we got a hell of a lot of people in here. This is awesome, man. There's 77 right now. It's a pretty awesome live stream for Wednesday. I hope I didn't step on any toes. I looked and made sure JMac didn't have anything queued up, and then I queued it up and I saw that he was doing a subscriber giveaway, and I was like, Jesus, what an asshole. Me, that is. So my apologies, Jason. I just had to get some stuff off my chest. I'm sick and tired of people saying that you need to think like a millionaire. Okay. Some of the things that were said during that live stream, you can't save your way to millions. If we're honestly preaching that stuff to people and making people think that they cannot save their way to millions, then what are we doing? What are we doing? You mean to tell me that you have to think like a millionaire, even though you're not prepared to even understand how rich people think? Why don't you just take a concerted effort to identify your own personal strengths and weaknesses? Be like, you know what? I think I want to get involved in investing, but this single stock stuff, it scares me. I would rather engage in maybe this opportunity over here. Ryan talked about this passive investing option. I've read about it. It's really, really intriguing to me. Let me start there. I'm comfortable with this amount. I have this as my time horizon. I understand the opportunity with a tax advantaged account like a Roth IRA. Those are the fundamentals of what you need, right? And if I sit across from you and say, don't even bother, you can't save your way to millions, I beg to differ. I've looked at the compounding equation many times at a 19-year-old contributing $25 a month for the rest of their life with an initial investment of $1,000. Puts you at 7 figures. Okay. That's just the reality of it. You don't need a side hustle to make $1 million. You don't. I'm sorry. Can you be a regular person and produce extraordinary results? Yeah, you can. You sure can. I'm sitting in front of you. I could have just as easily kept this all to myself, not started a channel 3.5 years ago. I opted to share the story because for those people out there that think, hey, big deal, no big deal, anybody can do it. Okay, great. Prove it. Prove it. See, I'm of the belief that most people will fail in investing because they can't get out of their own damn way. Okay? Not everybody gets involved with investing and ends up in a wonderful place. In other words, they're going to build wealth. Okay, if you contribute to a 401k for your entire life, chances are and odds are on your side that you're going to do quite well with that. My scary question and my rhetorical question for you that I would expect everybody to answer for themselves is: were you able to maximize your opportunity throughout the course of your life? Did you do everything that you could possibly do to maximize your opportunity? That's the key. All right. Good stuff. I do contend that you can absolutely save your way to $1 million, and you don't need a huge income to do it. You just have to want to do it. The person that makes $1,500 a month is going to need to dig a little bit deeper than the person who makes $5,000 a month. Okay. And the person who makes $10,000, you're going to have to get over your arrogance because you can be a disaster as well. Okay. I don't play favorites. The $1,500 investor can be a better investor than you who make 10,000. Okay. If you don't believe me, get over yourself, drop the arrogance, and start to deploy some discipline. You'll be glad you did. All right. Investing does not discriminate. It does not play favorites. Okay. People who make a nominal salary can empower and embolden their own lives, man, by just putting themselves on a strict discipline. And I've seen many different programs deployed through the course of my doing this channel. And it's amazing to me how that right there speaks volumes in all the different people that I talk to, right? People who make six figures, they're a complete disaster. People from other countries who don't even have half the opportunity that we have exploit the opportunities that they do have, and they run those opportunities to maximum efficiency. It's a beautiful thing. The ability to take something small and build it into something special. That's what we're talking about here. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Nobody else wanted to jump on, but I do have a happy Thanksgiving from my friend Randy for sure. I get a new account when I can't balance it. You're doing fine. You've just got to be on, like, you should write a book on your streak with Tesla. It's gotta be incredible, man. You're doing well. All right. Somebody says 47.54 as of 10/31 year to date. That's not 10x. I'm sorry. Leave the group. Just kidding, Christian. Yeah, hey, 47.54, nothing to shake a stick at anyway. Right? Yep. Did you do anything really special, Christian? Did you open your shirt and show everybody your ass on it? No, just participated, and you wanted to do it. That's the key. And I think the more we can demonstrate those successes and share those with the group, we can understand that the stock market is a great place to participate in for wealth building. There are other things you can do. Okay, I acknowledge that. But the stock market is right there close to the top as my favorite. It's not my most lucrative. I can't say that. I cannot say that. I can honestly say that real estate has been my most lucrative investment, but stock market is second behind, and I don't think it's second behind by very much. Right? Very cool. All right, let me scroll down here, guys. We are getting to the end of the live stream. I will drop one more invite in as well, because we will go for the 2 hours. I'm not going to give this opportunity up. I will stay with you guys until the end. We've got a few more minutes. I just dropped it in there. So very cool. I'm going to scroll down and look for some questions. Very cool. Yeah. There's just certain things, man, that you just can't freaking say. Okay. If you work at Best Buy and you sell somebody a warranty that guarantees X, Y, and Z, then you can say guarantee. But until you are working in that capacity and you're coming on and you're producing content about the stock market, this is not a word that we need to be using at all. Just my rules. Say whatever you want, own it. Okay. But you're not free to say whatever you want, because I'm here to tell you the truth. There is no guarantee in the stock market. There is none. None. I know it sounds great, and I know that you want to sound like you've got all the answers to the people who tune into your message. All right. Good on me and the few as well who I really resonate with. You know, Jason, I've watched so many videos from Jason. I sit across and I hear those messages come across like, hey, man, you want to do your own research. You want to look at this stuff. Okay. It's not for everybody. People don't hear that. They hear what they want to hear. And that's unfortunate. We can't help everybody. We can't, but we'll help the people who are willing to kind of sit back and say, you know what, you're right. Investing does, in fact, involve risk. How is it that I can mitigate some of that risk going forward? Super important. All right, let me cruise down. Guarantee you short-term profits for long-term misery. Yeah, very cool. Jason says, I'm not a fan of a lot of these new guys giving out price targets. Option traders, swarm-like stocks, and the word price target. It could be. You know, I don't know if you've ever read the SEC regulation on this. It's very old. It's long-standing. It's a very, very easy read. It's very, very crystal clear. Any attempt to influence a stock, man, is not. It's not. It won't pass any legal muster at all. And I just don't know if it's because of lack of scrutiny, or if it's lack of self-awareness, or a lack of ethical freaking. I wanted to cuss. You almost heard the F-bomb. But I didn't. I was good. We're trying to keep this okay for the children. All right. But have a little ethical freaking background about your, or backbone about your application. All right. You have to have some acknowledgement about how your freaking message is received by the masses. And I just think now there's no real barrier to entry. I can speak about, and I've been doing this a long time, just like, you know, Jason, when I first started this, you know, us few pioneers that kind of rolled this out, were very, very careful with our application. We would have never come out guns blazing 4 years ago and been like, you can 10x, or this is the next stock that's going to 30x or 100x your portfolio, man. We would have never said stuff like that. And maybe we're in an environment now that it's more acceptable. I don't know. I won't be playing ball. I won't. I try to be as edgy as I can with my particular niche. It's not really a niche anymore, to be honest with you. I don't consider it a niche. I think it's, you know, one of those things that was a novel idea when I first started. Hey, taking control of your own money. That's it in a nutshell. Nothing too special. But no, I know, man. I agree with you. I'll be right alongside you, fighting the good fight. You know, I just, what can I say? We can only continue to the best of our ability, provide that level of transparency on both sides of the coin. Hey, this has a lot of potential here, but you know, I think Switchback is going to go through something of what it does after December 15th, after it merges, in that a lot of companies, once they fall under that public scrutiny of not having earnings, right? This is what is plaguing Hyliion right now, and I'm hoping, I'm optimistic that Hyliion really does have a lot in the hopper here, per se, behind the scenes. I'm very, very good at reading between the lines. I really think Thomas Healy really does have a lot behind the scenes that he just can't disclose openly. I do believe that. But the question becomes, how much are you willing to stake on that? You know, are you willing to stake the farm on that, or are you willing to take a strategic position? Now, right now, I'm staking a very, very large position on Hyliion at 2,850 warrants. I'm going to convert the whole wad here in a couple days, because I think we're 2 shakes away from an S1 alpha being accepted and the S1 being deemed effective. And it's going to mean about 12, 13, 14,000 of paper loss transitioning to gains for me, because of the cost based on the warrants. But, you know, I do digress. I do agree with you, man. I just keep hustling, keep doing your thing. At the end of the day, you really do need to do what's best for you and your business. And that's the key. And you can't, most people will fail at this because they just don't get the fact that they have to take some personal ownership over their own program. Us content creators, we've got enough savvy to come onto a forum like YouTube and say, hey, here's what I do. Here's worked for me. Here's definitely what's not worked for me. Here's some of the pitfalls that you need to kind of look out for. You can say that until you're blue in the face, but it only goes so far, but we're going to keep fighting the good fight, man, for sure. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours, man. Why don't you do yourself a favor and take the day off tomorrow? Eat some turkey, drink some beer. It's awesome. I still think he looks like Emish. I still think he looks like Emish, man. I'd go to battle with the guy. I really would. with. I said with, not against. Very cool. Oh, well, Nickel and G, I don't believe so. I'm not bullish. So I am bullish on the technology, but I'd be bullish on the technology on the Hyliion side. I think, it's Nicholas has done everything that they could possibly do to screw up that deal. I'm not really sure why they are given the nod in the market. Hyliion falls under huge scrutiny. There's negative articles on Hyliion every single day. If you look, Nikola, it's the opposite. It really is. And, the fuel cell is the technology that's going to be worth looking at and pursuing into the future. And Nikola, that's exactly their exclusive play. The problem right now is I think they're way too premature on that technological breakthrough. And my thesis is, and Thomas Healy has come out with a few recent interviews that I feel like really speak to this. It really speaks to the cost of entry for RNG, the delivery thesis that he has to bring that and bring it to bear. The cost per diesel equivalent is key. If you just sit through some of the interviews, I wish I had the links. I would drop them. And Jason knows what I'm talking about. It was the best interview I've seen. It was a presentation that Thomas did in front of a panel. It was absolutely fantastic, where he took and compared, the cost of renewable natural gas, the cost of hydrogen fuel cell, as well as fully electric. It's just a fantastic, and it makes sense. I think it's a great thing to invest in the short term, and I think long term, I think they're working on. They are working on hydrogen fuel cell as well, and it'll be great to see how this industry evolves. I don't wish that Nikola go under. I think that perhaps maybe they will find a place. I do, but I think the GM deal is going to fall through. That was anyway the last piece that I read on that. I believe that's done. I believe it's dead in the water. I don't think that they'll be around. I don't. Not in accordance with GM. I think GM was stupid for striking that deal, to be honest with you, which is, there was a hell of a debate last week between the brothers, Kyle and Matt. They turned it out as a video. I thought it was pretty awesome debate. I really did. It was really good. When those guys go at it, I think it's great, because it's nice to see that two people freaking disagree on this platform instead of just, blah, blah, and being a bunch of sheep following each other around, Just, it's okay to disagree every now and then. Hell, you can disagree with me if you want. I have no problem with that. Jesus, man. Someone has a price target. No, they won't know how the market works. Yeah, it's fickle, man. It's a tough game. It's a tough game to think you got licked, man, for sure. You'll get lucky a few times, but that's just the way. I bold just because I want to own part of the Red Sox. You guys are devout, that's for sure. IBM is attractive. It's been attractive for a while, man. I don't know if I can even offer a dang thesis on this. Something is fundamentally holding the stock back, and they've made moves to try to fix it. I don't know if it has anything to do with their legacy hardware business. I don't know if it has anything to do with the competition that is out there. IBM is a juggernaut. They make cash flow like no tomorrow. 5% dividend is safe, right? I own 25 shares. I did sell. I had two positions. I sold the one in the brokerage and I kept the one in the Roth just to keep, it was a nice position. But I have been very, very wrong on IBM for the last 5 years. It's just been a real dog. And, my deep water holding right now is Cisco. Cisco's bullish going into 2021. We'll see what happens. But, man, it's a really, really tough space. Really tough. But I appreciate you. I'm a stock owner in IBM. I still believe it fills a nice strategic position for technology in the portfolio, and I'm okay to own it. All right. You got some fixins? Very good, Jerry. Happy Thanksgiving to you, my friend. Canned, please. Absolutely. And I don't like the berries. I like the jellied. I don't like the berries. Yuck. It's gross. Ham brisket is more likely. Bob's hungry. Doctor said Bob's all good. He's got his clear, so he can be back to being ornery again. That's fantastic. So happy Thanksgiving to you, Bob. We've got about 10 minutes left, guys. So I'll look to wrap up the live stream as well. We'll drop my last invite in here. If anybody wants to come on, I'm all fired up. But I know it does help. I have somebody take me up on this every single week, actually. And I think a lot of them just, like the idea of talking to me privately. I'll stay on for 5-10 minutes or however long it takes. But I just dropped the invite in there if you want to come on and say hello. If you've got a specific question for me that you'd rather have behind the scenes, we do what we can do. Absolutely. The year of the FOMO. Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm killing it with Switchback. Jesus, Jason, if Jason with JMac Investing is still on, I think he's created a monster. I really do. Hyleon's easy right now. I'm just waiting to convert those. But Switchback's in play, baby. Holy smoke, holies. That was a good one. I guess my good one to just offer just for fun was the CIIC trade. I picked up 1,000 pre-market, and then it went into a halted status. And I came out of it and sold the shares. It was like an hour and a half later, and $1,000 bill. Boom. Yeah, easiest money I ever made in my life, man. The stock market is crazy, and it's an evolution to get to that awareness piece and put yourself in those positions where you can enter into some of those. I know Bob does that as well. He does a good job picking his spots. But nonetheless, thought I'd share that this has been the year of the FOMO, no doubt about it. That's exactly where I'm at. So Jeremiah Walters says, I'm 25. That's exactly where I'm at. Right on the nose, man. It's my float. If I find that the market is conducive, if I get a nice entry in the low 20s, perhaps I might be looking at putting some bigger positions to work, but not here at 30. I'm good. I'll continue. Now, guys, I say that. I probably dollar cost average my accounts with at least $700 a month. Okay. So please understand the context. Okay. Don't go out there and just drop all your accounts come Friday if the market's open or next Monday. Understand the context surrounding. Okay. And on an average basis, right, when I make my Roth IRA contributions, it's probably around 1,500 of monthly contributions that always flow into the account on an average. It's just that right now I've chosen to take some liquidation off the table, hold that cash basis until a more opportune time to maybe throttle up a little bit. Okay. I'm in third gear. I'm happy to be there for as long as it takes. It's no problem. I can make money in third gear. Okay. I don't always have to be redlining the engine. I don't always have to be doing that. All right. Still got well over $250,000 in the market. I'm totally freaking fine with that. But I say that tongue in cheek. $250,000 is a lot of money from where I come from. Okay. Maybe a lot of you guys are like, no, I've got that in my wallet now. I don't. Okay. This is my life's savings. This is it. This is my nest egg. And I do look to protect it to the best of my ability. Okay. I wish we were in a market that I could just take all my nest egg and invest with some confidence that my money would grow over time. But I have some real systemic risks. And for you guys that have never heard me say this, the national debt is the number one systemic risk to the market, in my humble opinion, that we have. And it's looming and it's not going away. It's just my 2 cents. So therefore, my investment thesis isn't, it's all roses, because it's not. It's not. All right. They broke not just because the current happenings. They are broke because they don't manage their money. Yeah, I think that's a very, very smart comment, Ben. Thank you for offering it. I do. I think there's more to investing than just constantly putting yourself on a picking the winners streak. It's just there's more to that. Really is. Tim, happy Thanksgiving to you and the family, man. Appreciate you. Very cool. Appreciate you guys. Small cap value. I just sold it. It went on a very nice run. I like small cap value strategically placed in the right portfolio. Um, ask yourself if you do want small cap value exclusively, it can really underperform for a long, long time, as it did for me. Perhaps maybe another play to look at is a small cap blend, right, where you get a nice mix. VB is the offering there. VB is Vanguard's flagship blend account, where it's got your growth small cap and your value small cap. I just have a hard time wrapping my mind around companies that are not established but are considered value plays. Does that make sense to anybody else out there? Yeah, so I know they're picking their spots carefully, and I know that these are dividend plays. Leggett and Platt's not even a small cap; it's a mid cap. So you just got to be kind of careful with your application there. You know what I'm saying? But I think I would rather prefer, if I was going with a larger allocation of capital, I would go with a small cap blend VB. All right. Jason is in the house. I think I'm almost to the bottom of the thread. Very cool. Lydia, happy Thanksgiving to you. I just saw you. At the very bottom here, I have screen something on my phone. I'm scrolling through. Eric Weaver says, great stream. That's fantastic. I have not forgot it. This is what I'm going to do in retirement. I'm probably going to push it up to like a 2-hour live stream. Absolutely. Once or twice a week in retirement. This will be my project when I retire in 15 years. For the next 15 years until I do retire, you guys are going to have to put up with the 60-minute Friday live stream. But we will look to close it out, guys. I think the theme tonight, I was very, very proud of myself because I wanted to come on here and go off. And I can. Pop a head gasket. I wanted to because I get angered, okay? And I shouldn't. But I do get angered at the impact that poor information, and I don't think it's ill-intentioned. I don't think it's ill-intentioned. I don't. But if it's poor and the impact to people is not conducive to a responsible wealth building program for themselves, most people are going to end up falling on their face, and they're going to end up struggling for a long time and realizing, unfortunately, too late, the errors of their ways. I see you, Ms. Bryant. I'll get you in here after I close down the stream if you want to stick around, unless you want to come on and say hello to the audience. They're wonderful. They haven't thrown tomatoes at me all night. It's been awesome. But I just think, and I've said this many, many times, YouTube is a landscape of information. A lot of it is good. A lot of it is bad. How else can I chalk it up? But I honestly think that through referral, I think we've brought a lot of people onto this message that really understand that I'm not YouTube. I'm not. I fight YouTube tooth and nail, and I will continue to sacrifice whatever growth I was destined to achieve through YouTube by keeping my moral compass. I will absolutely do that. And expanding on projects into 2021, I will continue to do that. I will continue to roll out speculative mining videos because I know the savvy investors in the group are absolutely 100% hip to why I'm doing that. Doing it to, support the message, keep the lights on. Some of these programs that I use to produce this content cost a significant amount. Okay. This live stream opportunity through StreamYard is $250 a year. Now, that's a pretty significant cost, and those things help to supplement the cost. I wish I didn't have to worry about that, but anybody who says that they don't worry about money is probably naive to the fact that they need to probably pay more attention to the inflow and outflow. And that's a pretty good expenditure, along with a lot of others that I incur on the channel. And those opportunities help me. And I know that my loyal audience will acknowledge that. I know it's going to piss a few people off and they'll leave. And I'm totally fine with that too. That's totally fine. Why? Because I know that I've done everything I can possibly do to try to leave no stone unturned when it comes to your potential opportunity, yours. And when I say potential, I mean you may not take up on this thing. Stock market investing isn't for everybody, right? But for those that are interested in getting involved in the stock market and doing so in a responsible manner, I'm all about that. I really am, guys. Okay. So with that, we will be throwing down on Friday as well. Twice in the same week. Very, very cool. I look forward to that. I really appreciate you guys coming together with me on this forum for a couple hours tonight. I really do. You guys take it easy. Have cherish this time, man, please. You got to cherish this time with family. This year has been a barn burner. Let's say good riddance, and we'll roll into 2021 that much stronger and that much more disciplined and that much more together as a team of independent investors. Guys, take it easy. Be safe. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and we'll see you in a couple days. Cheers.